Hi, I'm Simon from Hope Woodturning and I'm here with KS, and we're going to do a series of basic woodturning videos. So we're going to start right at the very beginning and then stay tuned because we'll follow through the journey of how you actually improve your turning, starting from the very basics going on to more advanced stuff. We're also going to show some sharpening, and if you click on the link that will show you some basic sharpening. So starting at the very basics, so you've just come along and you're an absolute beginner. We want to show you how to start safely, how to use the tools, and then progress and follow the journey through on how to learn how to wood turn. We have a bit of sycamore and we're just going to show you how to mount this and just show very basic at the beginning how to turn this into a cylinder. But stay tuned because we'll follow through into more difficult processes on how to do shaping, etc. So if you're at the very beginning of your journey, you have your piece of wood and your lathe, and you have a basic set of tools, something like this. This is how we would progress. We need to find the center, so we can just use corner to corner, very basic way just to get started. To find the center, you could also use a center finder, Vicmark, Nova, there's different makes, and very simply fits into the corner and you can find the center very easily. So you have your lathe. Just do a quick check. Yeah, just come a bit closer just to check that the points are on line, which they are. That's good. And then what we need to do is actually bang that in the end there. Now you should not use a hammer because it burrs the end, and you should not do it on the middle of the lathe. So we go to the end and we use a bit of wood, and then we can just tap that in. So when I get that way in, I go this way, this way, this way, this way, and in the center. Yeah. And it's very important to do that to make sure you indent into the wood for safety. So that goes into the Morse taper. Bring up the towel stock. We lock that off, find the center, like so. Make sure that, oh, just come a bit closer, just have a look. Just make sure that the teeth are actually in the position correctly. Okay, so with this nice and tight, this tight, this tight, make sure you lock this, okay, that's important. We're not going to turn the lathe on yet, we need to get the rest set up. So we get this set up as closely as possible. The height just below the centre, so if you look down, it's just below the centre line. Yep, and get it as close as you can. Just move that a little bit closer. And it's always good practice just make sure you turn. Ah, there, see, it's just hitting. So you always check before you switch the lathe on. So we just move that back, check, and we're ready to get going. So we're just about ready to get going, and it's exciting, you know, the first time actually having a go. Can be a bit scary, but we're going to talk you through it. Make sure you have some eye protection, that's very, very important. So minimum you must have eye protection, or you have a mask, something like this. If you're beginning at the very early stages, then maybe it's a good idea to have a mask, and if anything went wrong, you have safety. But I'm just going to use some goggles. Okay, so always check before you actually start the lathe, and always start the lathe at a low speed. So this has variable speed. So we can turn this down to a low speed, press go, and then we can turn up to find a happy speed. Somewhere about 1500, 1700 is fine. Okay, so now that that's set, I'm just going to stop the lathe and we're going to use a roughing gouge. This is part of the starter set, and it's pretty much everything you need to sort of get started on wood turning. This is a 3/4 roughing gouge in the handle. It's very nice, good weight, and we're going to show you how to hold this and actually rough start roughing the wood. Now, the way you hold the tool is quite important, and the way that you stand is also important. You see, you have your sort of feet apart, never sort of like this or tilted. Good firm stance is quite important, and the way you hold the tool. So it should be on the rest, never sort of coming down on the rest when the wood's spinning, always sort of start here and go up. And I like to just hold the tool like this. Okay, very, very easy just to start turning. It's quite hard to do this because you have no control. This way underneath, you have some rest on here and you have good control. So we're going to get going, make some shavings, and just turn this into a cylinder, just to show how to get started. Right, okay, let's get going. So we have our speed, everything's been checked. Very, very slowly, we're going to come up like so, and you notice that the handle's slightly down, and we're going to go slightly at an angle. And then we're just going to start cutting the wood very, very gently. Yeah, so we come up, and I'm just going to cut in one direction, just to begin with. Sometimes if you have the angle wrong and it's more this way, what happens is you do this. Yeah, so you have to keep this angle this way. Once more, if it's wrong and you come this way, it digs in, so keep the angle always this way. It is possible to go the other direction. And it's possible to go back like this. Now, if the gap here is about ½ inch or more, we need to start moving forward. So always stop the lathe and just move the rest forward so it's close. Again, just make sure you always do that before we start. We're actually very close to being a cylinder. Now that we've got this turned, we can actually turn the speed up and go slightly faster. And this way we can get a better finish from the tool. The tools will start cutting a lot easier. And then normally for finishing, you can use the bevel, so lower the handle down, get the bevel rubbing, and have a really nice finishing cut all the way along, like so. So we're going to lower the handle down, get the bevel rubbing, and just go along and make a nice finishing cut. We're going to come on the rest, lower the handle down, get the bevel rubbing at the back, and just make a really nice, slow, controlled finishing cut. So now that we've just roughed that into a cylinder, it's the beginning of our first how to get started in wood turning, and just follow the next videos, and we're going to start using the spindle gouge, and we're going to start doing some more exciting things like adding beads and coves and a bit more shapes. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you on the next videos.
Great.